Hey folks, meteorologist Nick Kelly at your service. This video is a winter storm update for those of you along the I-44 corridor in southwestern and south central Missouri. In particular, a few friends of mine and let's say extended family in Springfield and Waynesville want me to give them a personal forecast for them. So I decided why not, and I'll actually post a video post on this instead of writing everything out in the blog, since there is a lot to go through. So let's start off with Waynesville. A pretty beautiful town, Waynesville, Missouri, just to the north of Fort Leonard Wood, our military base here in Missouri. Right now, Waynesville, you are seeing quite a bit of fog, and your temperature is at 31 degrees. But if we zoom back out, we are thankfully, for the time being, dry. You have rain, mixed precipitation, and snow all the way just to the east of Chicago through northern, central, and southern Indiana. We have mixed rains extending all the way into Ohio, Pennsylvania, and stretching back into Illinois, just to the south of Springfield. But look off to your southwest, or just to the west of Joplin, south of Wichita, and even through Tulsa, Oklahoma. Some mixed precip, some sleet and snow is already beginning to develop once again, and is eventually moving into southwestern Missouri, but it will still take a little time to get here. So what is going on? What is causing all this? Let's flip back to Google Chrome and pull up this map. This is HPC, a special website that I like to go to look at surface maps and to see where everything is going to go from here on out. Right now we are looking at 6Z on Tuesday, which is essentially midnight, and it's about 11:18 right now. So basically this is what our current setup is right now. It's picking up on the mixed precip and snow in southern Kansas and central Oklahoma and into Texas. This is actually the low that will be giving us our next round of snow and sleet. This little guy right here, this is a fairly weak low, which is centered over southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. That may spin up a little bit of more in the way of light freezing drizzle and light freezing rain, but it's going to be mostly a dry night overall. But it's once we get into the morning hours tomorrow is when things will really start to pick up as we move along into 6 and 7 a.m. The low is now in eastern Texas, but it is starting to regain its strength. So it'll funnel in more moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, override the cold air. So we will begin to see, for southwestern Missouri, a mix starting off right away of sleet and snow, while St. Louis gets to see a little more ice in addition to the sleet and the snow. Heading into lunchtime, the low begins to move into central Arkansas, right over Little Rock. Arkansas is going to get pelted with a lot of weather, anything from strong thunderstorms to thunder sleet, thunder freezing rain, and thunder snow. But for those of you in Springfield, Waynesville, Lebanon, Fort Leonard Wood, St. Robert, all along the I-44 corridor from Rolla all the way to Joplin, we will begin to see another fierce round of sleet and snow. But by the time before we head into lunchtime, we are going to see most of this transition over to all snow, and literally it continues into Wednesday evening as the low strengthens as it moves into the boot heel of Missouri. Now these black lines you see surrounding the low are called isobars, which are bars of constant pressure. As the low begins to strengthen as it moves into the Ohio River Valley, we are going to see the low strengthen, which means we will see many bars of constant pressure. And the short distance between each constant line of pressure will mean strong winds around the low. So with us being on the back side of the low, with the counterclockwise flow, winds will be screaming from the northeast and from the north, fettling in a lot of cold air. So definitely as we head into Tuesday morning and until the storm leaves on Wednesday, we are going to see everything fall predominantly as snow. Moving into Wednesday morning, though, we begin to see the snow moving out of Springfield completely. So Springfield, by the time you wake up Wednesday morning, we'll finally be done with the snow, but we'll be dealing with a lot of winds from the north. But Waynesville, you'll have to wait a little bit longer, maybe until Wednesday around lunchtime and into Wednesday evening before we can finally say goodbye and good riddance to all the snow. But behind all that, high pressure from the north and from the west, bringing in northerly winds still, which will mean strong winds will contribute to wind chills well below zero and frigid temperatures until we can get back into the weekend, where temperatures will slowly start to climb back up into the 30s. So, how do I know for sure, how do I have a good handle of what will be headed your way? Let's go to a sounding. This is basically a representation or a model of the atmosphere. Right now we are looking at Waynesville, or an area between Waynesville, St. Robert, and Fort Leonard Wood, all along the I-44 corridor and just a few miles north and south of I-44 in that area. We are looking at 6Z midnight tonight. The line on the left, this yellow-greenish line, is the dew point, and the line on the right, the red line, is the projected temperature. Basically, where you see these two lines come close together means that we'll have clouds in place, and in some cases, and especially with this, we'll have maybe some precipitation trying to get going. But for midnight, Waynesville, you're not going to see a whole lot, thankfully, to these big gaps in between the lines, which is basically dry air. So if anything tries to fall, it'll evaporate before it gets a chance to hit the ground. So we'll see that from about 800 millibars to 1,000 millibars, so basically from the surface to maybe a few miles up into the atmosphere, it'll be saturated, but that's representative of the fog that you're already seeing right now. So it'll be a quiet night, but fog will persist, and in some cases it could be freezing fog, since temperatures will be at or just below the freezing mark, which is 32 degrees. Moving into Wednesday morning, though, 6 or 7 a.m., by the time you all wake up, look at how we get a lot of moisture coming in. This is a result of that new low funneling in a lot of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico as it begins to move closer to southwestern Missouri. Take a look at this. With the way that this sounding is set up, moisture will easily begin to fall from about 250 millibars, and as it continues to fall, it'll fall at temperatures below freezing until we hit maybe about 800 millibars. A few miles from the surface, we could see some of the moisture begin to maybe melt just a little bit before it begins to refreeze as it immediately falls back into the surface. So what that means, most of this will fall as snow, but because of this maybe little tiny pocket of warmer air aloft, we could see a little bit of melting, but the instant refreezing could mean that some precipitation will fall as sleet. So that's something to keep in mind if you dare try to venture out on the roads tomorrow. But again, hopefully you took the time over the past few days or today to prepare for the storm, because you might be stuck for a little while, and I'll explain why in just a few minutes. Moving on to about 18Z, this will be around noon. Same story, saturated from 200 millibars all the way down to the surface. Everything will fall in the atmosphere in temperatures well below freezing. So at this stage in the game, Waynesville, you'll see everything fall as snow, and you can begin to see winds already beginning to come out of the north. So the cold air, or even colder air I should say, will begin to funnel in Tuesday afternoon. And it really continues into 0Z, which is Tuesday, 7 or 6 o'clock in the evening. We begin to see a little bit of drier air coming in, but we still have plenty of moisture from about 500 millibars, or halfway up the atmosphere, all the way down back into the surface. And look at temperatures. It's going to be maybe here 5 or 6 degrees below zero in terms of centigrade. So look for temperatures to easily drop back into maybe the upper teens or in the middle 20s for lows as we head into the overnight hours. But take a look here. 6Z heading into 12Z, we begin to see a lot more drier air overtake the moisture as the low begins to finally move away from the area. And by the time we hit Wednesday evening, we'll maybe see a little bit of fog or a little bit of cloud cover, but all the snow will be gone. But look along to the right. These are the wind bars, and all the winds will be screaming out of the northwest. So all the ice, sleet, and snow may be gone, but you'll have to contend with a lot of frigid temperatures and maybe even wind chills well below 0 degrees. That'll do it for Waynesville, so let me quickly switch over to the Springfield area by moving over to our map, and we will redirect our little dot. Go into central Greene County for Springfield. So I have a lot of friends down here who constantly ask me what is going on or what will happen. So all of my buddies down there in Springfield, listen up, because it's your turn now. The same story in terms of what Waynesville is seeing right now. You're seeing fog right now with temperatures right around 32 degrees. And it correlates to what we're seeing with the sounding here. Sure, we're saturated at the surface up to about 850 millibars, but with this dry slot from 400 all the way up to 800 millibars, we're not seeing any precipitation falling right now. And that'll be the case as we head into the overnight hours predominantly. So it'll be a quiet night. We'll get a little break in between these two waves with this winter storm. But look ahead as we head into Monday morning, or we already had Monday morning, so how about Tuesday morning, 6 or 7 in the morning? Same story with Waynesville, saturated from 250 all the way down to the surface, maybe a little bit of melting as we head into 800 or 900 millibars. So with this case, Springfield, most of you will see snow right away as you wake up tomorrow morning. Maybe mixing with just a little bit of sleep, but at this stage in the game, I'm fairly confident that you will start off your commute to work if you have to go in with, you'll just see a lot of snow. But again, with what we're dealing with, since you all are under a blizzard warning, just please be careful if you do have to be on the roads. Otherwise, just stay inside, cuddle up with the family, fix up a pot of chili, just stay put so you don't put yourself in harm's way. Noontime Tuesday, same story, 200 to 1,000 millibars, plenty of moisture in place. Everything will be below freezing, or every layer will be below freezing, so snow will continue as we will continue into Tuesday evening around 6 or 7. And as we head into the overnight hours, look at this. Dry air comes in, 7 a.m. We could see just a few flurries lingering around, but as we head into Tuesday or Wednesday evening, all the snow, all the precip will be gone, maybe a little bit of fog because of all of the moisture coming up from the snow as it begins to radiate back up into the into the sky late at night. And same case with winds out of the northwest. Wind chills could easily fall well below 0, while temperatures will be falling to the mid to upper teens around the Springfield area. That'll do with the soundings. So what does it all mean in layman's terms? Let me switch over to this model data from WSI, a company that KOMU uses to get weather data from and model information from. We are at 6Z midnight. Here in here in southwestern Missouri, some areas may see a little bit of light mix or a little light sleet, but it will be very scattered, very hard to find, and with a lot of the dry air in place, most of what is being outputted as future radar data won't be able to reach the ground right away. So we're looking at a quiet night, fog, but quiet, no precip. But look ahead as we head into 6 in the morning. You begin to see a lot of activity happening from Joplin and maybe just to the west of Springfield, maybe around Bolivar, Buffalo, maybe even as close to Springfield as Republic. You'll begin to see heavy snow beginning to mix with a little bit of sleet. Waynesville, Fort Leonard Wood, St. Robert, you'll begin to see a mix of sleet and snow as we head into the morning hours on Tuesday. Skipping ahead to lunchtime, take a look at this. We begin to see a whole mess in southwestern Missouri. It may sound a little crazy, but it is possible that there could be some thunder with whatever precipitation you see, because there's a lot of convective properties in place that will lead to lightning and thunder, which normally we associate with thunderstorms, as will be the case in central Arkansas from Little Rock off to the north and to the east. So from maybe West Plains, maybe up towards Rolla, you'll see thunder, freezing rain, with St. Louis for all the way through Rolla, Waynesville, and maybe just towards Lebanon and Marshfield, you'll see thunder sleet, while Springfield, And from Columbia off to the west towards Kansas City, Joplin, Nevada, Clinton, you'll see thunder snow. And with the thunder snow, if you get caught under this, you'll see snowfall rates approach maybe 1 to 2 inches per hour. So these things will pack quite a wallop. And I have not heard of thunder snow and as long as since Columbia in 2006, December 2006, when it was my freshman year. That was probably the only snow day that I've ever seen that Mizzou has taken. So anyway, heading into Thursday, I wish it was Thursday now so this could be all over with, but no, let me correct myself. Tuesday night, everybody will see moderate to heavy snow. Any ice or sleet or any mix will move towards the St. Louis area, so we'll just be dealing with a lot of snow. But again, with the wind strengthening as the low begins to move towards the boot heel, winds sustained at maybe 30 to 45 miles per hour, we'll be seeing blizzard conditions throughout most of Missouri, with the exception of the St. Louis area and down to the south towards St. Genevieve, Cape Girardeau, and even Farmington or Festus. But look at this, though. As we head towards midnight Wednesday morning, the snow begins to get lighter. We'll lose a lot of the convective thunder snow as the low begins to move towards the Ohio Valley and towards the northeastern United States. And as we head into the morning hours on Wednesday, we'll finally begin to see the snow taper off. But behind that, again, strong winds out of the north will lead to a drastic drop in temperatures and dangerous wind chill values. So again, even if you can't venture out on Wednesday and into Thursday, the winds will make it feel brutally cold. So, with all of that said, I'm more concerned about, for the immediate time being, how much of what we're going to see. So, going to the Weather Service office page in Springfield, here's a brief overview. Winter storm warnings from Branson over the West Plains and points to the southeast of Rolla and Lebanon, while everybody along the I-44 corridor, Rolla, Waynesville, St. Robert, Fort Leonard Wood, Lebanon, Marshfield, Springfield, going all the way back to Mount Vernon, Missouri, Joplin, and all the way north towards Columbia and Jeff City and Kirksville, you are all under blizzard warnings, and this will pack quite a wallop. So how much of what will we see? So let's go to our winter weather briefing page off of the National Weather Service website in Springfield, because I generally agree with their consensus. Let's first look at ice with the total accumulations. Again, not a whole lot of ice expected to fall for Waynesville, Lebanon, and Springfield. Maybe at the most a tenth of an inch of ice. Not a whole lot to make things a lot treacherous in terms of traveling or maybe possible damage to tree limbs or power lines. What will be your immediate concern will be the snow. While you may not see a whole lot of snow compared to maybe Columbia, where they'll see 20 inches of snow, still we're looking at 16 inches possible in Springfield, while maybe between 10 and 13 inches around Waynesville, Rolla, St. Robert, and of course the Fort Leonard Wood military base. And with the National Guard on duty, we're going to see quite a bit of everybody staying inside while everybody just tries to keep power on for all the Missouri residents that they can, and just trying to make sure that the roads are cleared as quickly and safely as possible. So that is my take on the impending storm coming in. If we still have power here in St. Louis, I will likely be posting an update soon on my blog at nmkelly87.com. So I will hope to see you all soon, folks.